And if you are here with us right now, there is one person watching us. Welcome to our Twitch Live. And if you're listening on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, you are doing it wrong. We are live every Monday at 9 p.m. on Twitch. As always, this is the Anglo-Italian Pod. I'm Tommy, and you can find us on Instagram at Anglo-Italian Pod.
And you can find us on Twitter at Italian Anglo Pod. Tommy, how are you? Feels like we've not talked in a while.
I know this weekend Inter weren't playing. We didn't really text about meeting up for the games. I apologize. I feel like when Inter are not playing, the interest for football suddenly decreases a little bit.
Mate, well, you missed a hell of a game at the West London Stadium, the London Stadium, East London Stadium. I don't know what they call it, but you missed a hell of a game, and more fool you. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, and do you have any idea why I'm wearing this very jersey today?
Is it to try and trigger me? Are you trying to trigger me?
No, it's because these are the only Spurs that we support at our pod. Correct, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and also because this week we have an interview set with some American friends who are going to be talking to us about the present and the future and maybe a bit of the past of the USMNT, and that episode will be released on Friday. And of course, I'm very excited to have a chat with my good American friends. But how are you, Rory?
I'm good. It was a weird weekend. I want to quickly address the elephant in the room. I completely forgot about the FA Cup and that it was happening on our episode on Thursday. I apologize, guys. It was just sour grapes for the fact that we got knocked out, I think. I just can't take loss that well. But yeah, so not much Premier League action, but the action there was pretty interesting. And the FA Cup had a few surprises. I would say one maybe as a surprise. But it was a good weekend. I'm good. Exam period at school, so pretty busy, but I'm ready to talk football.
Did you have parents week, parents evenings already?
We're having that next week. At the moment, I'm doing all the exams online. Today was 8 hours of speaking exams on terrible people's Wi-Fi, which was great fun. Yeah.
Wow. All right. So today's episode, we're gonna be together until 10 p.m. Central European time, more or less, probably a bit more than a bit less. But what's the plan for today? We are going to take our Euro review blimp around Europe. We are going to analyze individual games, but more than anything, we're going to give you an overview of how the league is looking at the last international break of the year. It's going to be the final rush very soon, so we kind of want to give you a very clear overview of Europe's top 5 leagues. And the second part of the show will be dedicated, of course, to the World Cup qualifiers and the international break that we're going through right now. A lot of interesting groups, a lot of interesting games, a lot of interesting names. Rory, very quickly, we will talk about it in depth later. What did you make of England's senior squad?
A few surprises. Trent Alexander-Arnold being left out.
What?
Yeah, not called up. And Patrick Bamford not being called up, which I think we will talk about later, but I think he's unfairly being overlooked, and I'm not sure why. Maybe it's because he's middle class and not many footballers are. I don't know, but he is being left out.
Before we jump on the blimp, I just wanted to remind our viewers and our listeners, you should follow this Instagram page called Seagulls Social. They are Brighton fans, but I sent you that meme about Jesse from Breaking Bad screaming, "Why does he keep doing that? How can he keep getting away with it?" And it was referring, of course, to Southgate's names called up for the national team. But Rory, it's time for our Euro review blimp. Where should we head to first?
Well, firstly, we have Chris agreeing me with disgrace. TAA not happy with that. So plenty of people are upset that he has not been called up. But first, let's head to España. I feel like some tapas and some bullfighting. Let's go.
Let's do it.
Oh, wait, I need the video.
You need a little music. And this little song was dedicated to Almuñeca girl, who is My mom, she's following us
Way, Mrs.
live,
Adami.
Mrs. Verri. She's not
Oh,
married
sorry.
to an
Scusa.
Adami anymore. It's been quite some time. Awkward. But yeah, she's typing Ole right now, and she's following us from Andalusia, one of your favorite regions of Spain, right, Rory?
I love Andalusia. It gets a bit too hot for my pasty skin, but I have enjoyed a few summers in Seville and Malaga. That's still Andalusia, right? I think.
Yeah.
Good. Anyway, before we
It's
show
close
ourselves
there.
up even more with our geography knowledge or lack thereof, how are things looking in La Liga? I've heard this Messi guy is still quite good.
This Messi guy is still quite good, but first a look at the picture. Now, somebody explain me how Barcelona are all of a sudden above Real Madrid in the standings. I feel like we've been covering La Liga for quite some time now, and every time I was checking, Real were second, and all of a sudden Barcelona are. So is there a game in hand that I have forgotten about? I don't know. But today, Monday, the 22nd of March, the league is looking like this. Atletico are first at 66 points. Barcelona are second at 62. So you can be sure that the Colchoneros are feeling Barcelona's breath down their neck. Real Madrid are third, only 2 points behind Barcelona, and Sevilla are fourth at 55. Europa League territory, we have Real Sociedad, who got battered by Barcelona this weekend at 45 points, and Real Betis, sixth, also at 45. Relegation territory, drop zone, basement boys, as Rory loves to call them. We've got last in the standings, Huesca at 21 points, only 3 wins this season. Deportivo Alaves, 19th at 23, and Eibar, 18th at also 23. But the big headlines from this weekend are number one, Barcelona just steamrolling past Real Sociedad away and winning 6-1. A brace by Messi, a brace by Dest, and goals from Griezmann and Dembele. Dembele, for once, tried the dribbling that he usually tries, aimed for the corner that he usually aims for, and scored. And the other name that I was very happy to see in the score sheet was Serginho Dest with his first goal and his first brace in La Liga. How about that for an American player?
I was going to say, I think that might be his first goal of the season, and it was. But I think a key reason why Barcelona have found themselves suddenly right back in the race is this stat from Messi in 2021. So far, 12 games, 15 goals, 7 assists. This guy has taken the insults personally. He's turning up, and this is a major reason why Barcelona are getting back to where they should be. I think he is kind of shepherded in this new era of young players, and I think if there's ever a player for young players to learn from, why not Messi? I think he's a pretty good role model in general, on and off the pitch. He takes his job seriously, if you know what I mean. He's not like falling out of nightclubs, and he also happens to be the greatest footballer of all time. So I think, yeah, if you're going to learn from anyone, why not him? Obviously, we're hoping Atletico can still keep going, but there's a part of me that's quite happy to see Barcelona kind of getting back to...
Very interesting. I feel like this is going to come out more and more throughout the episode, but Massimiliano Allegri was a guest on Sky Sports Italia last night. He had a very long chat with the people who usually work there, including Fabio Capello, and at a point they asked him, so you've managed Cristiano Ronaldo. Who do you pick, Cristiano Ronaldo or Messi? And he said, I will not tell you whom is whom, but one is better and the other one is greater.
Oh, wow. That's very diplomatic, but also quite telling. I like that.
I like that. So we will not break down his thought, but I think you all get what better and greater means. But the other game that was really intense was Atletico Madrid, Deportivo Alaves, 1-0. On the score sheet, of course, Luis Suarez, the old man who couldn't keep up with Barcelona's rhythms anymore, he's still on the score sheet. But at the 85th minute of this game, a very, very controversial penalty was given to Deportivo Alaves against Atletico Madrid. So to me, it was not a foul, but little does it matter. The guy goes to the penalty spot and he's facing Jan Oblak. They know that this game is crucial because Barcelona are going to play soon and they could put even increasing pressure on them. And Jan Oblak saves it in spectacular fashion. Now, this penalty was not touching the ground, like it was above the turf, and he still managed to get his hand up high and just smash it to the byline. And that is huge. That could be potentially the save that wins them the Liga. But this is no news. I mean, Oblak probably up there, best of 3 goalkeepers in the world.
I think he's been ignored for far too long. I'm amazed that nobody's come in and tried to buy him from Atletico. He must be very happy there. But he is, every time I see him playing in the Champions League, he is outstanding. He has that kind of, you know, the vibe that Schmeichel gave, how he was like a handball goalkeeper. Like he came from handball to football, and it meant that his reactions were much better. His flexibility was insane. And I feel like Oblak kind of gives me that kind of feeling, but he's like twice the height of Schmeichel. He seems like his arms and legs are so long. The guy is ridiculous. And yeah, of course, he's one of their best players. He's in like the top 3 of their team, if you know what I mean. So it's like, of course, he's going to come up with these big moments, but it's good to see him still coming up with these big moments.
And I wish I had the stat in front of me, but his clean sheet percentage at Atletico Madrid is just disrespectful. And then, staying in Madrid, Real Madrid make it 3 wins in a row in all competitions after defeating Elche last week and Atalanta in the Champions League. They also walk past Celta Vigo with a brace by the most disrespected man in human history, Karim Benzema. Karim the Dream scores a brace. And he's just like, you guys keep talking. You guys keep insulting me and thinking whatever you want about me. Guess what? I will keep scoring. And I think that maybe this brace is dedicated also to people like you, Rory.
If he wants to dedicate the goal to me, go on ahead, Karim. Yeah, I don't know. I've always known he was good. My issue with him was always his off-the-pitch illegal antics. He's obviously an incredible player, but I think people are still kind of waking up to it. Like we said last week, including myself, I knew he was good, obviously. You don't play at Real Madrid for however long, 10 years, whatever he's been there, without being half decent. So, yeah, obviously he's a great player. France could weirdly kind of do with him. So I think, yeah, they will look back almost like Cantona, how they'll look back and regret that they didn't play Cantona as much. They might look back and regret they didn't play Benzema, but it does help that they won a World Cup anyway, I suppose. I don't know if they'll regret that much. Yeah.
And then the last game that I wanted to talk about, Real Valladolid Sevilla, 95th minute goal to draw the game by the goalkeeper. Yes, why not? So, Rory, this was one of 3 goals scored by goalkeepers this weekend.
But you need to reference the keeper's name. His name's Bono.
Sorry, I didn't say Bono. We talked about the buddy last week, I remember. We were talking about the Moroccan players at Sevilla. And
he finally found what he was looking for and hit the back of the net. I'm sorry, I had to work in a U2 joke. I apologize. But he got it into the back of the net. And he is one of 3 goalkeepers who did score this week. The other one was, or the other 2 were Varzim in Portugal. Ricardo Nunez for Varzim. He scores from his own box, one of those classic, just punts it. It takes an unfortunate bounce. The defenders are nowhere. The goalkeeper's stranded, and it rolls into the back of the net. And the other goal was from, I love a Greek name, Papadopoulos for Asteras in the Greek Premier Division as well. So all the goalkeepers getting in on the action this weekend. Plenty of goalkeeper goals. You love to see it. This is exactly what you love to see.
Yeah, except that I hated to put myself in the shoes or in the gloves of the other goalkeeper. When you see that bounce in front of you and you just see it coming over your head, you must be like, oh no, it better not be one of those. And when I was watching one of these 3, I don't remember which one it was, but the bounce in front of the goalkeeper was so high. Like the ball must have been going so fast on the way down to bounce that high in front of him. But yeah, 1 out of 3 goalkeeper goals. Rory, where do you want to go next? You pick.
Next, we are going. Oh, let's go to Deutschland. I clicked the wrong thing, but we're getting there. Bundesliga. Hello. We are in Germany, and it is time for Bundesliga action. And who broke more records this weekend, Tommy? Take a guess.
Is that Lewandowski or Haaland? One of the two. It's got to be.
It was Lewandowski. He now has 35 goals this season, breaking his personal record, and has over 700 minutes to break the record from Muller, which is 40. So do you think he'll get 5 goals in another 700 minutes?
I think he got another 15 probably, and put their bomber and will blow the bomber out of the water.
Very good.
That was
I like
the title
that.
of one of our articles last year.
Yes, it was. It was. Yeah. Flashback. Go search that out, guys, if you can find the dark corners of the internet. But the amazing thing of this was that Bayern won 4-0 against Stuttgart, and they were down to 10 men. Now, I was watching the highlights, and what amazed me was the first 2 goals, Bayern Munich were just passing around them, and it looked like Bayern Munich had more players than Stuttgart, right?
Yeah,
the way they were passing it looked like there was no difference. The Stuttgart players couldn't keep up. It was quite funny. On the same day, on Match of the Day, they ran the thing of, are Manchester City the best team in the world? And the first comment on Twitter was, bit of a weird timing to post this, seeing as Bayern have just battered someone 4-0 with 10 men. Like, I think they might have competition. Bayern look terrifying, genuinely terrifying. There was quotes during the week from some of their fans and from kind of old Bayern legends saying they've had great teams in the past, but this is possibly the most entertaining and the most frightening team that Bayern have ever had. And if you think of their history, that is a hell of a compliment. I think people need to start talking about how good a coach Hansi Flick is because he kind of got the job by accident, and he's won every trophy he could win so far. And I think most clubs in Europe, maybe it could be another case of like a manager that works well at one club. I don't know. But a lot of clubs should be looking at him for when his cycle at Bayern or when he kind of wants to leave, because what a job he has done there and what a squad they've built. It's incredible.
He's got plenty of experience. He was the assistant coach when Germany battered Brazil 7-1. During that World Cup, he was the assistant coach, then a very long career as assistant coach at Bayern. And then he was given this job as a caretaker, as you were saying, and he ended up just taking it for the upcoming seasons. And he's already won a Champions League, and he's still proving that he's got it in him. It wasn't like a chance that he snatched. It feels like there is a mentality behind the system and everything.
Well, this is it. You can see like the absolute intensity and the pace they play at. It is a system. It is designed. It is kind of manufactured. It is organized. That is exactly what they want. That's exactly what he wants. But the funny thing is, from this game, Lewandowski could have had 4. He really should have had 4.
What an idiot, right?
Yeah, I know. Just come on, Robert, wake up, please. But we have to also mention that his hat trick was a perfect hat trick as well. So his hat trick that took him above Victor Fischer and in sight of Der Bomber was a perfect hat trick. What a way to do it. What a way to do it. 3 beautiful goals. I love Lewandowski. I'm so he is the best striker on the planet at the moment. No arguments.
And do you know who he said was his footballing idol when he was a kid?
The only one better than him, Thierry Henry.
No, he said Roberto Baggio at first. He said, growing up, I was all about Roberto Baggio. And then when I grew a little older and Baggio was kind of, being a journeyman around Italy, he was like, at that point, Thierry Henry. But man, what about these 2 legends to get inspiration from? I think it's awesome.
2 very different players as well. So I think you can take different things from different players and become just what a striker. He's just so deadly. And his first goal was Bayern Munich's first attempt in the game. So Alphonso Davies was sent off around the 12th minute. It was very early in the game. They created their first chance. 5 minutes later, bang, 1-0. Then it was 5 minutes later, 2-0, 3-0. And it's like, once they get that 1 goal, it's relentless. Stuttgart looked shell-shocked. And I don't know what that extra man was doing apart from scratching his head. I don't know what was going on.
But so Bayern Munich are 4 points clear at the top international break. Rory is the no, what did they call it? What's the name of the trophy in the Bundesliga? I don't remember.
Das Trophy. I believe it's Das Trophy. Yeah.
Who's gonna win Das Trophy?
Das Trophy.
Well,
shortly after the international break, we have the top two meeting, RB Leipzig and Bayern Munich. That is coming up soon. I would need to double check. It might be the first round of fixtures back, but I will have to check.
I'm checking right now. Just keep talking.
But that game is coming up, so that will be the decider. It's the next round of fixtures. Good work, Tommy. So that is what it all hinges on, right? If Leipzig manage to get a win there, then it's game on. If Bayern Munich win it, it's game over. I think it's as simple as that, really. But Leipzig did get a 1-0 win this weekend. They kind of laboured to it against a Bielefeld who were starting to show a bit of fight in their bid to stay in the Bundesliga. Sabitzer got the goal, one of our favourites, Marcel Sabitzer. And he was assisted by another great Spanish player, Olmo, who seems to be coming through, who has now got 8 assists for the season and has been really key for them. So I think it should have been much more comfortable for the Red Bulls, but the Bielefeld keeper did very well. The strikers were a bit off form, but they got the 3 points. Sometimes you just need to labour to the win, and they got it. So they've got no complaints, as opposed to Dortmund, who absolutely shat the bed. So, as always, within the first 5 minutes, Haaland scores, as he is customary to do. It seems like he starts games before anybody else. And he scores within the first 3 minutes. It looks like it's going to be business as usual. Okay, Dortmund will get 2 or 3. But then no, Köln have got different ideas. They get a penalty for a handball that was given by VAR. It was a handball, but it was kind of kicked at him, I think, but nowadays it's a handball. So Köln equalise. They then get the second, and the Dortmund defence was all over the place. Thomas Meunier gives the ball away, and all of a sudden it's looking really, really dodgy, heading into the 89th minute, and another Dortmund debutant, Knauf, he's 19, came on for his debut to set up Haaland for a 90th minute equaliser. Haaland was shaking his head as he came off the pitch at half-time, and at full-time, a player asked him for his shirt, and he threw it at him. So I don't know if the player looked really kind of put out, and I'd be upset as well. Like, oh, okay, I've got his shirt, but do I want it now? Like, he just launched it at me.
I absolutely loved all about that for one reason.
Really? No, I thought it was a bit like...
I've talked already about the fact that I think that Haaland is an incredible player, but I'm a little tired of this, like, I don't know, like fun and giggles around the pitch. Dortmund are sitting 5th. They're in Europa League territory. Stop laughing and giggling if you score 3 goals, but you tie 3-3. So for the first time, I don't watch a lot of Bundesliga games, but for the first time, I saw Haaland getting out of the pitch with the mentality of a person who just wants to win. And after all the poses with Sancho, Joe Reyna, and everybody, they're always having a good time. It feels like they don't really care if the team is losing or winning. For once, I saw that this teenager also has that drive in him. We drew 2-2. I had a brace. I'm sorry, man. I'm just going to toss you my shirt. I'm pissed off. I'm going back to the locker room right away. I think
my reflection of it was slightly different to that. I thought he was making quite a public show of blaming his teammates. It was a bit like, what do I have to do to fucking win here?
Fair.
Like, I've done everything. I'm pissed off with you. Like, and he was like shaking his head. And I thought it was quite a public thing of, I didn't really like it. I thought, okay, mate, look, we know you're a great player, and now there's rumors of you leaving. Is this the first thing of him being like, I'm too big for this club? I don't know. Something about it didn't sit right with me. I think, look, you can say, yeah, you've scored 2 goals, but ultimately, the team's performance is what matters, right? And you all take responsibility for the team's performance. So I think there was a bit of petulance there, but he is very young. Like, he's a teenager. Of course, he's gonna be petulant at times. But I think there was no need to throw the shirt at the guy. I just thought it was a bit needless.
I like your take. We usually agree on things. I
feel like, I'm finally I'm finally getting brave enough to take you on, Tommy.
Oh, fuck. After almost 1 year of doing the pod, you've grown some balls, buddy. No, but
elsewhere, before
I really like you. I really like your take, and it could be that. Yeah.
I think maybe he's just been a bit spoiled. But the Steve Cole has just commented the Raiola effect. I think you could be onto something there, Stephen. You could be onto something. But before we leave Das Shores, I don't know. We have to talk about. I last week did call that I expected Hertha Berlin to get something against Leverkusen, and they got something. They battered Leverkusen 3-0, 3 first half goals. And Leverkusen are so bloody inconsistent. They just cannot get a run together for this European place. But
1 in 5 in the last 5, only 1 game.
It is crazy. They seem to drop points in stupid games. I seem to remember they dropped points against Bielefeld recently, and the bottom teams they tend to struggle against. But for Hertha Berlin, great performance. The first ever goal for, I'm going to try and say this, Ziefweek for Hertha Berlin. That was followed by Cunha's first goal in 1,049 minutes. He's one of their main strikers. And then that was followed up with a third, and Patrick Schick should have definitely scored. I think Leverkusen on a different day could have gone 3-2, 3-3. Could have been a bit closer. But Hertha were just really clinical on the break. And they look like they could be giving themselves a bit of a lifeline to avoid relegation. They are now just 1 point ahead of the relegation playoff places, 2 ahead of the relegation places. But they've now won 2 of their last 3. Maybe things are starting to turn around, and the other teams around them are still dropping points. Obviously, Köln drew, and of course, Schalke lost. So Borussia Mönchengladbach, Marco Rose desperately needed a win. Up comes Schalke, and they won 3-0 again. But the big news at Mönchengladbach is they're about to get a legend in charge. Chris, are you listening? Xabi Alonso is going to be taking over at Mönchengladbach at the end of the season. He is currently managing the Sociedad B team. They are top of their group in the Spanish third division, I think it is. So he's doing a good job there. And he has been announced he will be taking over. Exciting times at Gladbach. Seeing Alonso in a suit on the sideline, I cannot wait.
I'm very curious about Xabi Alonso's German. Do you think
I'm imagining it's quite good? He was there for a while, right? He was at Bayern for ages. So
if there is one thing that I'm impressed about is non-Germans who speak German. Like to me, I remember one time I was at the Berlin airport and there were these 2 kids just talking to each other, and then one of them calling their mom and telling her something. And I was looking at them like, that's so bloody impressive. You can speak German. I don't know. It's to that point of complexity as a language. For me.
Is a crazy language. How you can just build words by adding on more words. It's insane.
Mad respect to any foreigner who speaks it, and mad respect to Xabi Alonso, who definitely has got some German in him to take this job. But Rory, one last thing. I just wanted to remind our listeners that Schalke have lost 18 games, drawn 7, and won 1. Wow.
Yeah, it's brutal. I was watching the highlights. It always feels like they're fighting the Alamo. It always feels like they're just being swamped. Like people are just running at them and everyone's just falling over and kicking balls and just going mad. It just feels like so panicked. Their goalkeeper actually had a pretty good game. Made a few saves, but then the last goal makes a save and manages to throw it into his own net. And you're just like, oh, for God's sake, Schalke, like, can you not do anything right? And now it seems like the rumors of Rangnick are falling apart. So any kind of optimism that was starting to get around the club is slowly fading away. I'm so sorry, Schalke. I really do wish there was something better to talk about for you. But if you sign Mustafi and Kolasinac, yeah, that's what you fucking get. Like, come on. You need to be doing better than this.
Hey, tell me, what are you afraid of? What is your biggest fear? My biggest fear? Being Schalke's goalkeeper. Imagine how you take the pitch every single weekend.
Just how many saves can I make? Like, let's see if I can beat a PB this week.
I was just looking at how many goals they got scored against in their last 4 games. And it's 13 goals in 4 games, 17 goals against in 5. Imagine being that goalkeeper always picking up the ball from the back of your net.
PTSD. And Chris, you're right. Every weekend on my accumulator, there is Schalke loss. Every single weekend. Just boost those odds a little bit, a little tiny bit.
Yeah,
So,
great times for Schalke fans. Shall we go to France?
let's go to France.
Bien sûr, bien sûr, bien sûr. We are in France. Mr. Ori Chris Quolo, what do you want to talk about?
We are going to be talking about teams at the top letting PSG in. What are you doing, Leon? You're giving it away and you're throwing it all away. Why?
I know.
So the big game of the weekend was PSG 4, Lyon 2. Mbappe getting his 19th and 20th goal of the season, becoming the youngest ever player to reach 100 in Liga, and making it 10 goals in 8 games against Lyon. They must be sick of the sight of him. I was sick of the sight of that Paris Saint-Germain kit. It was horrific. Have you seen it?
I love it.
Man, it felt like a really bad tie-dye or like a really bad rave from the 90s. I don't know what was going. It was an awful kit, man.
All about that. All about the PSG kit. I watched the highlights mainly because I wanted to look at the kit. No, I'm joking, but I thought it was cool. What do you guys think?
I hate it so much. It was like making my eyes go weird. But anyway, beyond that, we can actually talk about football. Lyon just absolutely shat the bed, and PSG were all over him. They just look like PSG are really hitting the stride. That Pochettino football is starting to come out. They're kind of hitting form at the right time of season as the Champions League's ramping up, etc. I think it could be. I think PSG are gonna just see this out now. I think Lille and Lyon are starting to panic. Lille, especially this weekend, absolutely stacked it as they lost at home to Nîmes, who are currently 19th, I believe, although they may have gone up now. They're now 18th, so they're in the relegation playoff zone. But for Lille to lose at home in that game was a big, big surprise. That was the game that ruined my accumulator. So thank you, Lille. But the goals from Nîmes were really nicely worked goals, both on the break. The first one, Kone, was a really quick break, but he absolutely smashes it into the top corner. And then for the second goal, it's just a really nice, beautiful passing move. So Nîmes, for a team that was struggling, were confident enough to try and play a bit of football. They could obviously sense that Lille were not quite feeling it. And they will be kicking themselves because now that has put PSG level on points with them, but a massive 15 goals ahead on goal difference.
But guess what's the first game once we'll be back from the international break?
You took the words right out of my mouth. We have Bayern Munich and Red Bull, and we have PSG against Lille. PSG are going to come running at that, and that again is the kind of decider. I think if PSG win that, then you're not going to stop them from there. If Lille manage to get something, then it's game on. I think if PSG win that, they'll really hit their stride.
The result that we impartial fans want is Lille and PSG to draw, so they go even at 64, and Lyon to win, so they go at 63 points, and then we have once again a race on. But yeah, I think it was very despicable to see that Lille lost that game just right before the international break. To me, the international break has a huge significance in terms of momentum. You of like break that momentum. It's like Allegri was saying last night on television at Sky Sports. I watched the full interview, and there was this very famous game that Juventus were playing away at Carpi. And it was right before the Christmas break. It was the last game before Christmas break. And at a point, Lichtsteiner lost the ball in front of the box. A Carpi player got it, crossbar right away, and they hit the crossbar. And Allegri, he became a meme instantly. He removed like his jacket and his tie, and he started screaming like, I told you, don't do it. And yesterday was like, man, that game, besides the fact that it's risking ruining my holidays with my family, then it breaks the momentum. Like if I lose a game before a 2-week break, when I come back, I will need answers right away, and I don't want answers the first game that I play after the break, you know? So this is kind of like the thing whenever there is an international break or a winter break, you don't want to lose the momentum right before, and that's exactly what Lille and Lyon did.
No, exactly. It's just a huge psychological weight, isn't it? That whole 2 weeks you're sat thinking about why did we lose the game? What did we do wrong? What do we need to do better? And it's just, I imagine it's just in your head constantly. But they did stuff it up. But coming up on the horizon is Monaco. They are now only 1 point off the top 3 and 4 off the top after they beat struggling Saint-Etienne 4-0 at home. You have to search out Chouameni. His performance was unbelievable. His goal, it was the pace of the ball was measured at over 100 kilometers an hour. It was a beautiful goal. Then it's followed up by a goal from another youngster called Diop, who has an incredible chip over the goalkeeper. And then another youngster comes on and 27 seconds after being on the pitch, scores his first ever goal for the club. Jovetic getting the first. 3 starts this year and 4 goals. So there's life in the old dog yet for Jovetic as he keeps going. But Saint-Etienne, they've got a bit of a cushion of around 4 points away from the relegation zone. Yeah, 4 points. But if they don't start picking up form, they are going to be right in it. They've lost 3 of their last 4 and won 1 in that time. So really not great form for Saint-Etienne. But Monaco were able to take advantage. And in the relegation fight, I'm going to quickly go through it. So the big game was Nantes versus Lorient. Nothing really happened, not much of a game, but they drew 1-1, and the Loriente free kick for Lorient was Juninho Pernambucano-esque, classic knuckleball, it was a beautiful free kick, but the angle that it hits in the side net, as the French would say, it is incredible, and what a goal. Beyond that, there was also another goal definitely worth looking out, which was in the Montpellier game. They beat Bordeaux 3-2. Sambia scores a great free kick, and Steph Mavididi, you might remember him from Juventus days, scored a goal with a few stepovers, which was definitely worth checking out. Montpellier slowly making a charge for Europe. Dijon have now equaled Troyes' worst ever run in Ligue by going 16 games without a win. They lost 1-0 to Reims. And that was France. Oh, and Sampaoli lost his first game in charge of Marseille as they got battered 3-0 by Nice. I watched that game. Marseille looked terrible. Nice looked really, really lively. Tommy, are we ready to go to Italy? Is that where we're going?
I was just looking at the French standings, and PSG have lost 7 games.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Which makes them the team at the top of one of Europe's top 5 leagues with the most losses this season. 7 is quite a lot.
That stat.
It's quite a lot.
7 is a lot. Usually, if you've lost 10 games a season, you're mid-table.
Yeah.
Arsenal. It's weird that you could still be top after that. But, we've said it many times. This is a weird season. It's a weird season.
And you know what? When you have a lot of when you have 7 losses, what you don't want is draws, and PSG only got 3. So that's what makes up for the losses. Let's go.
Exactly. It's feast or famine, right?
Boom. Ready to go to Italy.
Let's go to Serie A. Oh, one day I will get there quick enough. Guys, it is my aim in life to be able to do this all within 3 seconds. There we go. I'm getting closer. We are in Italy. We are in Italy, but now we're in Italy. Tommy, take us through the Serie A weekend.
All right. So quoting the now world-famous Ghanaian journalist who reads the results of European football matches, I'm going to read the best one as he read that. Juventus? Whoa! Juventus Benevento 0-1. Let's go, Filippo Inzaghi. There is one viewer who ran away the moment I was doing that. I bet he's a Juventus fan. But that was insane. So, as you know, Inter Milan didn't play the game against Sassuolo because of not 1, not 2, not 3, but 5 players who tested COVID positive to coronavirus. Now, it's not Inter's decision not to play. It's the local health authority that said you cannot play this game. So the game was not played. I found it brilliant that Pirlo said before the game, Inter are very lucky. This is a great moment to take a little break. You know, you've got 2 weeks to recover your players and everything. Definitely, they are lucky at this moment in the season, which is absolutely everything that Juventus fans hate about other Italian supporters. They hate when they make up. They would say that this is a very Inter-type attitude to say, oh, look at Juve, like, oh, they got a break for 2 weeks. Oh, they don't get to play the game when there is a fucking virus outbreak. So after all this talk, Juventus managed to lose a game at home against Benevento. Ladies and gentlemen, out of 6 points, Filippo Inzaghi's team got 4 this season against Juventus, drawing the first one and winning this weekend 1-0. Now, Juventus played the majority of the game. Cristiano Ronaldo really wanted to go, and he wanted it badly. One play, he really, in Italian, we say sverniciare il palo, which means to remove the paint of the post. It was really that close, didn't quite go in. And then Arthur, the man from Barcelona, with a terrible horizontal pass in the defense, which I've never played football, but if I know one thing when I play five-a-side with my friends, when you're in the defense, pass it forward, don't pass it horizontally. The guy was there. His name is Adolfo. I wonder if he will ever play with Mussolini in the same team. But he did score the winner for Benevento at the Juventus Stadium to make Benevento leap from the basement boys. They're now 16th with 29 points, which is 7 above the drop zone. And it's a huge result also for AC Milan, who are now 4 points clear of Juventus, who, however, have still got that one game in hand. But it's an incredible result all over the place. And I mean, Juventus have now picked up 4 losses this season. They are having the worst season that they've had in the last 10 years. The Pirlo project is not paying out. The Ronaldo cycle, the only Ronaldo cycle without a Champions League, might as well be coming to an end. But yeah, I don't know. Things are not looking bright for Juventus at all. And that game, they were pushing more, but Benevento had the stamina to keep staying there, keep attacking. Like, the only reason they scored that goal is that they were pushing Juventus's defense. And in the end, they got it. 1-0, everybody go home. A penalty was overturned for Juventus, which is something unheard of. It's like everything, so many beautiful things in 90 minutes of football. But
well, we've talked about it with Juve, the fact that, like, I think they thought that they could just stroll to number 10 this year. I think they thought, we can just put anyone in charge, we'll win number 10, and it'll be like an ex-player who's won it. It'll be a nice kind of, for the Amazon documentary that is coming out, guys. Remember, the next All or Nothing is about this Juventus season.
It's this Juventus season?
Mate, it's this season.
Oh my God, that's incredible.
Yeah, it's incredible.
So they're not going to film the next season. They're filming.
No, it's this season. So they thought that this was going to be the crowning glory, number 10, Amazon documentary, Pirlo in charge, and it's all just fallen to shit. I cannot wait to watch it. Juventus were just too cocky, which is classic Juventus. I think they just thought they could walk it, and thankfully they've not been able to. Mate, how many times are we going to watch this documentary? How many times are we going to watch it?
My mom is saying, what were the odds of Benevento winning in Turin? Good for a great win at the Toto Calcio, which is the old Italian betting system. But yeah, the odds were probably very, very high. And AC Milan take the result and they win. They overcome Fiorentina 3-2. Now, I was telling before the live show, I was telling Rory, I don't understand why Fiorentina are so low in the standings. I haven't watched many Fiorentina games besides the one versus Juventus, which they won 3-0. the one against Inter, which they lost 4-3, and then we won the other one, but we it was a tough game, and the one against AC Milan. So it feels like when the competition is intense, they play actually better football. And AC Milan just found a beautiful goal in Çalhanoğlu at the 85th minute to call it a game. But before then, it was actually scary as an AC Milan supporter, because it felt like, Fiorentina were dominating, not dominating, but they were playing good football. And with a loss there, Inter would be 6 points, 9 points ahead with a game in hand, and you don't want that. So Inter, if they win the game in hand against Sassuolo, they will still be 9 points above AC Milan, which I find kind of hilarious. They started talking about the Scudetto again after saying for 2 full weeks, no, that was never our objective. Our objective was the Champions League qualification. But no, in the end, they're talking about Scudetto, and I think still you're sitting 6 points below the table leaders. I would just focus on winning games day in and weekend out. Steve Cole is saying Fiorentina have the worst defense in the league. I agree with you. The first, that is probably the problem. The defense, like when you're playing against Ibrahimovic, you cannot try to play the good old offside with Ibrahimovic. The guy is experienced, and you see at a point Martinez Quarta, he takes a few steps backwards, looks right to his left. Ibrahimovic is there. Of course, makes one more step. Ibrahimovic is gone 5 steps beyond him. The ball comes in, and he calls right away for an offside. But nobody, you were keeping him, like your teammates were keeping him onside. So I think that the defense is definitely Fiorentina's problem.
And the fact that Dragowski is now injured is definitely a problem for both Fiorentina and for me. In Fantacalcio, guys, I decided to spend all my money on one goalkeeper, and it doesn't matter. He'll be fine. The other keeper can just be a sub who never plays. Well, now Dragowski is injured, and I'm in big trouble because I only have, I think it's Benevento's second goalkeeper. I'm not even sure who it is. I am screwed. Dragowski is going to turn into a personal vendetta at some point. If you cannot keep a clean sheet or fit, you are making my life hell. But Steve has made a very good point. At least he can't concede anymore now.
Yeah, right. But he's going to get him 0 points at every match day that we play. But other interesting results. I called all these games before in our preview. Crotone Bologna was a good one. Crotone were winning 2-0, and eventually they lost 3-2. Check out the goal by Schutten at the 70th minute. Woo! Like just a paintbrush on the top corner. Beautiful. And it really sucks for them because also Parma lost as they... Wait, I'm double checking. Parma. Who did they play?
Well, this is where the Hopeless Wanderer pod have come in and argued with Steve about Fiorentina being the worst defense by saying Parma do try their best to be the worst.
Yeah.
They are looking in real trouble.
Parma did lose against Genoa. They were winning 1-0 thanks to that Graziano Pelé bicycle kick. Like Southampton rewind.
It's like a special move. You know how you get like special moves on Tekken? That's like his special move is the bicycle kick.
Exactly. But then they ended up losing 2-1. And that really sucks for Crotone, who were up 2-0. And that would have been huge for them in the relegation zone, going almost at even points with Parma. But then Bologna did come back. Spezia in the relegation zone, they also managed to win against the Cagliari 2-1, another basket case of a club. They've won, well, actually, the last 5 games, they've won 2 out of 5, which is pretty good considering how their season has been going so far. Inter and Sassuolo weren't playing. Atalanta, they keep making statements. They want that Champions League spot, and probably they are going to take it. Sampdoria defeat 1-0 Torino thanks to Candreva. 1-0 also for Lazio away at Udinese with Marusic scoring the only goal of the game. And then, Rory, why did you pick Roma? Why is that your team?
Oh, honestly, I feel like no matter who I pick, they're just going to be a perennial pain in the arse. And Roma are just so annoying. Like Napoli were really... I love Mertens, and some of the that header was beautiful, like really well worked. But Roma were just so pathetic. Like
never really tried, did they?
It just seemed so like there was no fight there at all. It seemed really casual from Napoli. They were just like kind of loving life as they just rolled them over 2-0. I was expecting much more fight for, Il Derby del Sole. I was kind of hoping for a bit more fight there, but Roma are just, I don't know. It's just really annoying because their squad isn't that bad, and then they'll play quite well, and then whenever they come up against someone who's above them, they just shit themselves. It's like at this point you have to kind of turn around to the manager and go, can you make a game plan for big teams? Because at the moment you're not doing it and it's not working. Like, you can roll over the smaller teams, fine, good, but the difference often is how you do against your direct competitors. And if you can't find a game plan that's going to work this far into the season, then what are you doing? Because your progress is only going to be so far until you figure out how to be competitive against these big sides. I don't know. It just seems... And Steve Cole has chipped in and stolen the words from my mouth. They are so bad with Alberto. They miss him a lot. They miss him a lot.
Point, Steve. I didn't write down my notes, but that's actually a point that I want to talk about. Veretout, I don't know if you support Veretout, if you support Roma, Steve, but if you do, you can already say bye-bye, because I don't think he's going to spend one more season there. He's a very, very good player. He's the metronome to their midfield. There are big clubs looking for him, and Roma, as they usually do, they're just going to give away their best players. And it's a perennial cycle at Roma. Yeah. It's a perennial cycle of building a competitive squad, giving away your best names, and then rebuilding, trying to rebuild the cycle. So in 2 games versus Napoli this year, they lose 6-0 on aggregate. And I mean, we're not talking about Bayern Munich.
This is it exactly. Like, Napoli have had not the greatest season. Rino has been kind of holding on to his job with his fingernails, if you know what I mean. There's been a lot of talk of him leaving. And for Roma to be getting battered by them over 2 legs says a lot more about Roma than it does about Napoli. I think that is concerning. Roma need to get a proper manager. I don't know. They need to get a coach there that's going to put in a system. I still don't know what type of football they try to play. So... yeah, not good times at the Stadio Olimpico.
But going into the international break, I just needed to say it once. Inter are top of the table, of course, at 65 points with 1 game in hand. Milan are second with 59 points. Juventus are third with 55 and 1 game in hand. That at this point better not be postponed again. I'm feeling the Napoli win already. I can kind of sense it in the air. Now, Atalanta are currently in the Champions League spot at 4th with 55 points, so on even points with Juventus, who, however, have got a game in hand. 5th in Europa League territory and 6th. We've got Napoli at 53, Roma at 50, and Lazio at 49, but also a game in hand. So it feels like there's going to be a bit of a capital fight for that last European spot. Without no further ado, let's go to you.
Let's go to the great shores of Great... Oh, so close. I just had the banner to do. Okay, we are in... Oh, no, I got it. Wait, it's the background. Okay, so we are back in the Premier League, and there was not much happening in the Premier League, but what did happen was pretty ruddy exciting. It all started off with Leeds winning 2-1 away to Fulham, with goals from arguably Leeds' standout players this year, Bamford and Rafinha. I saw Rafinha on Twitter touted as a future the streets will never forget player, which I did like. He is great fun to watch. His dribbling is unbelievable. He loves knocking the ball over the defender's head. He has been a great signing for them. Very exciting player. Patrick Bamford. Let's talk about him. He is the top scoring Englishman in the Premier League this year with 14 goals, and he still cannot get called up to the England squad. He's 27. Now, I was looking. I was like, oh, well, maybe he's picked Ollie Watkins because he's a lot younger, a bit more of a prospect. But Ollie Watkins is 25, right? So I was like, it's not like Watkins is a 19-year-old, 20-year-old that you're trying to bleed into the team. This guy is arguably about to hit his peak, as Bamford is arguably at his peak, right? So I'm not sure why Bamford didn't get picked. Maybe it's because he plays a very specific system with Bielsa, and Southgate thinks that in the system that England have. Maybe Bamford wouldn't really fit in, but I can't see it. I think there's no real excuse for Bamford not at least being given a chance. He's had a career kind of in the Championship, in the Premier League, in the Championship. People always thought he wasn't good enough for the Premier League. In the last few times, he actually, when he was at Palace, he was pretty bad. Like, he never really hit it in the Premier League, but now he has. Where is his call-up, Gareth? Where is his call-up? Yes, hopeless wanderer. Some people still do not rate him and didn't before this season. I think he's got to be given a chance. There have been much worse strikers who've been given one cap for England than Patrick Bamford, and I think why not just give him a shot? The fact that he does quite a specific job for Leeds means that I think he does a different job to any of the other strikers that England have. So, Patrick, if we're starting the Mattia Destro for Euro 2021 campaign, I'm going to start the Patrick Bamford to get a cap for England campaign. Jay Boothroyd, yes, I was thinking David Nugent as well was also, although 100% goal record in his England game, so you can't knock that. But yeah, there have been some dodgy strikers for England over the years. Then on Saturday, so Leeds beat Fulham 2-1. On Saturday, I have only just calmed down from the West Ham Arsenal game. I was shaking. My heartbeat was through the roof. I wish I had been able to watch this game as a neutral, because holy shit, what a game. Within 20 minutes or half an hour, West Ham were 3-0 up. Lingard with an absolute bullet. And I said before the game, I was like, Lingard is definitely going to score, because he always scored against us when he was at United. Now he's definitely going to score. He didn't only score, he also got an assist. And he absolutely bullied us for the first half an hour. That was followed up by a really quick free kick where Arsenal just completely switched off. Kieran Tierney had his back to the ball. They were too busy arguing with the ref rather than fucking watching the ball. And before you know it, it's 2-0. I'm going to say it, Bernd Leno should do a lot better at his near post there. He has to do a lot better. He kind of sneaks in between him and the near post. You can't be getting beaten on the near post. But anyway, 2-0. Then all of a sudden it's 3-0. My face is red with anger. I'm starting to lose my shit. I'm rage tweeting about how I hate Arsenal and they can all go away. And then all of a sudden, we start playing football. So it turns out the first whistle for Arsenal was half an hour in. That's when we started playing the game. And from then, we played really well. We managed to get one back just before half time. And then you're thinking, okay, we're kind of in this game. The second half, we come out flying. We finally get our equalizer in the 85th minute, I think it was. And the thing is, in this game, it was end-to-end. It was non-stop. Arsenal had chances cleared off the line. West Ham hit the post twice, 3 times maybe. They had an open goal that, like, Chambers managed to get his foot in the way of it. Like, either team could have won it, but I think both teams deserved something. So it was a really entertaining game. There's 3 players I'm going to call out for Arsenal that I think were absolutely outstanding. They are Callum Chambers coming into the team after 2 ACL tears. He is looking unbelievable. His crossing was amazing. His defending in the first half wasn't great, but none of it was. But I think he had a really great performance. Lacazette absolutely ran the game from the front. His build-up play, his winning the ball, his hold-up play is fantastic. And Martin Ødegaard, I pray to God we sign him on a permanent. He is so much fun to watch. He's so silky. I love him. He's like, his close control. He takes it away and just has acres of space. He finds a pass. What a player. And yes, Chris, I think Arteta must have thrown some teacups about. I was muttering to myself, he better be calling them for the biggest bunch of wankers that ever walked the earth, because there is no excuse for that performance in the first half hour. It was woeful. But not to focus too much on Arsenal, not like me, I know, but
just one thing, Rory. I read, I believe it was a quote from the Totally Football Show. Great source of inspiration from us. I wasn't able to listen this week yet, but they were saying that Aubameyang has become a moments player. Do you agree with that?
He has been I'm going to put it out, he's been better than Oba this year, right? And there's rumours of him being sold and Oba being kept. And I'm thinking, where's the rationale behind this? Oba's older than him. Lacazette has come up in such key moments for us this year. He's always there with the goal. In big games, he's always pops up. I think he genuinely, for his graft alone, you cannot dislike the man. He works so fucking hard. And the way he hits the ball is beautiful. I've always liked Lacazette. I've got him on the back of my away shirt. I fucking love him. I really, really would like him to stay. I'm afraid that Juventus and Roma are both looking at him, so he could potentially go. Hopeless Wanderer on Chambers. Would you play him in midfield where he played before injury? Well, before his injury, I seem to remember he was in great form, and he got a few assists for us, popped up with a few goals, but he's always been unlucky with injuries. I like him at right back. I think he lacks the pace a little bit, and we saw that in the first half. He was getting skinned a little bit. But I think in midfield, I don't know where we'd fit him in midfield, but I do like him. I'd keep him at right back for now. I think he's a solid backup to, well, I don't know who our first choice is. Is it Suarez or Bellerin? I don't know. He's a good option. So I would think keep him at right back for now. I really hope it goes well for Chambers because, like I said, he's had a lot of big injuries and it's about time. He's been at the club for ages. I really want to see him do well. But West Ham, great performance, especially the first half. Second half on the break, Declan Rice, oh my God, he went on a run, like coast-to-coast run, where I really thought that was going to hit the back of the net. But David Moyes, I saw some West Ham fans moaning that he went too defensive, but if you looked at the bench, the only options he had were defensive options. So if he wanted to bring on players, it had to be like Noble and the Ryan Fredericks and stuff like that. He didn't really have too many options. I think maybe he did it a bit too early and they just invited pressure on, but what a game. Potentially game of the season. I think, like I said, I wish I'd been able to watch it as a neutral because for me, it was far too stressful an experience. It was horrific. But the other game that we need to talk about is Newcastle. Newcastle are in trouble. Steve Bruce still hasn't been sacked. That performance, they lost 3-0 to Brighton. Brighton finally, 3 beautiful goals as well. Trossard, Welbeck, and Mopai. Seeing Welbeck score, always got a lot of time for that. But Newcastle is one of the most pathetic performances I've ever seen from any football team. They offered absolutely nothing. They had half the amount of passes as Brighton in the game. I think they didn't even have 1% of the chances that Brighton had. It could have been so much more comfortable. But Newcastle, I think, not only are they in trouble, I've talked about how I feel sorry for their fans, but I did a bit of research this week and I looked around and I thought, why are the fans so angry? When Mike Ashley bought them out, they had qualified for the Champions League. They'd finished in the top 4 7 seasons out of the last 10, right? And they are bought by Mike Ashley. He promises better things. And since they've just been a yo-yo club, Championship, Premier League, Championship, Premier League. A lot of pundits in England, a lot of fans in England think that the Newcastle fans are being entitled. I don't think they're being entitled at all. I think they are expecting what they were told. Their club has fallen so far since the day Ashley has bought them that they deserve better. The city deserves better, and it'll be a dying shame if they're back in the Championship. The Premier League needs that team in it. I think they are one of the teams we need in the Premier League. But they were pathetic. Steve Bruce needs to go. How they've come out and backed him this week is absolutely beyond me. There's no defense for him still being in the job. His team selection is bizarre. He's leaving out players like Matt Ritchie, who's one of the few that actually gives a shit. The right back, who's their second top scorer, his name escapes me now. Christ, what was his name? He plays for Ireland. Anyway, Jacob Murphy, he gets left on the bench when he's one of the few players that tries to do anything. There's no attacking threat. Joel Linton. Me and Chris talked about this. I don't know how to say it. He cannot hit a barn door, and he starts every game. Steve Bruce chased Dwight Gale, never plays him. There's a great a Newcastle fan called in on the radio this week, and I'm just echoing his complaints, but the complaint is really, really spot on with exactly what is going wrong at that club. I think Newcastle now are basically doomed for the drop. They have left them after that loss. They are now only 2 points behind Fulham, ahead of Fulham. They do have a game in hand, but in their current form, that game in hand, you cannot see them winning. I think Fulham have got more about them than Newcastle. I'm sorry, Magpies, but this could be the year that you drop down again. Hopeless Wanderer, feel for Newcastle fans, but unless Ashley gets brought out, Bruce will stay. Exactly. It's the same he did when he had Dennis Wise in charge. He just employs his friends, people, yes men, who aren't going to challenge him too much, and that's what he wants. The only time he'll ever sell is when the value of the club falls too far and he can't make a profit. That's all he cares about. When you name the stadium after your own company, you make it fairly clear what your intentions are, if you know what I mean. So, yes, and the last two games for Newcastle this year, their last two games are Sheffield United and then Fulham. Like, it is huge. I hope there's something resting on those games, because then it will be more interesting for us to talk about. But if there is anything resting on it, it could be pretty painful for Newcastle fans. That is the Premier League review. For the FA Cup, Hopeless Wanderer, I hope it's the United fan who's talking to us, because you had a nightmare, an absolute nightmare. We're going to quickly go through it. Iheanacho in unbelievable form. He now has 7 goals and an assist in his last 4 games. He is come from nowhere. He's always been a fairly decent striker, but it seems like he's really, really hitting his stride. And it seems like Leicester, they always kind of relied a little bit too much on Vardy, and now they might have a viable kind of second backup striker. It was a great performance, but for United, Fred had an absolute disaster class and led to probably 2 of the goals. But United just can't defend set pieces. I don't know what they're training on but every time there's someone at the back post left unmarked, or there's someone unmarked and it's just a free header. They cannot defend set pieces. And for me, if I'd have had to see Ole Gunnar Solskjaer smiling in that post-match conference after losing 3-1 and being knocked out the cup, I think I would have put my foot through the television. This is when I don't take Ole seriously. I think, man, even if it's just playing to the cameras, just look a bit annoyed. Look like you've lost a game, because the fans at home aren't smiling, right? They're not especially as you're out of the title race now, right? As is everyone. The title race is over now. Maybe you're putting all your eggs in the Europa League basket, but I think the FA Cup was still a viable trophy to try and chase and win. So I don't get why he didn't prioritize it more. Heading into an international break to put out a second string team or drop key players just seems like a bizarre decision to me. But United are out. Beyond that, Chelsea beat Sheffield United 2-0. Southampton beat Bournemouth 3-0. And then we had, what was the final one? I can't remember. I'm getting lost because I've been talking for what feels like an hour. Sorry, guys. The last one was Man City rolling over Everton 2-0, 85th minute and 90th minute. Just their squad depth is just not fair. Everton looked knackered and they brought on De Bruyne. It's just, of course, you're going to win. Thank you. Yes, exactly. The one I'm forgetting is City Everton. So now the semi-finals are Leicester against Southampton, I believe, and Man City Chelsea. So I am hoping for Leicester Man City final. Leicester win it. I think in a one-off game, Leicester can beat anyone. Leicester also beat City 5-2 at the Etihad in the beginning of the season. So I'm going to say Leicester dark horse to win the cup. Let's get Brendy that trophy. I want to see Brendy lifting a trophy with Leicester. It'd be great. Anyway, that's my recap done. Oh my God, I need some water. Right.
Yeah, So, Chris, I read your comment earlier that I was drinking 1 beer and you gave me shit for it. 1 beer. I've been drinking so much water. 1 bottle is already empty. Look, I have another one going. I'm keeping myself hydrated.
This definitely doesn't sound like you've got a problem, Tommy.
No,
definitely doesn't
have a problem.
I think the lady doth protest too much. Right. Where are we going to now, Tommy? Is it time for the game?
Sorry, you know that I love the movie Airplane. There is the great line. That was the beginning of my drinking problem, and the guy can't literally drink anymore. Yeah. He pours water on himself. But no, the last thing that I want to say before we quickly go through the national break, I know we told this, but we've never followed through with it, guys. We have jobs too. We've got other things to figure out. These kind of slipped through our mind. We said that we were gonna bring in a player focus in 2021.
Oh
Now,
yeah,
I don't know
forgot
if
about
yeah, me
that.
too.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to quickly give a shout to Junior Messias. The only thing wrong about this guy is that his name is not Jesus, because Jesus Messias would be dope. Now, he's played 27 games in Serie A this season, 7 goals, 204 dribbles attempted 122 winning dribbles.
Oh,
The guy is a machine. And apparently, I will try to do some research about the guy and talk about him on the Friday's pod. But the guy apparently came from a very, very poor favela of Belo
mm.
Horizonte in Brazil. He learned to play football on the streets. And the other day, this was absolutely beautiful. In the game against Bologna, after a scramble with a player in the box, his t-shirt ripped. And you see so many players like taking it off and asking for a new one. You see the guy kind of tells the ref to stop for a second, and he makes a ribbon with the sides on the sides of the hole. He just made a ribbon, and the ref looks at him and he's just like, "You sure you want to keep going?" And he looks at him like, "You think I can't play football because I have a hole in my shirt?" And I was like, "That is brilliant. Like, we need more of that attitude in football." But
I
what
like
we
that.
have next is the international break. Now, we're well past the 10. So, Rory, I was thinking I'll just break down some of the games that we have before Friday. We can talk about the Italian national team, the English national team, and on Friday, we will just go full on international break. So, as you all probably already know, this international break is for World Cup 2022 qualifiers. Every national team should be playing 3 games during this international break, and every country is in a group with other countries from their continent. So let's take a look at some European groups. So Ireland, for example, are in the same group as Azerbaijan, Luxembourg, Serbia, and Portugal. We've got Spain in the same group as Sweden, Kosovo, Greece, and Georgia. We've got Italy in the same group as Bulgaria, Lithuania, Northern Ireland, and Switzerland, who are also going to be in our group this summer at the Euro 2021 Championship. We've got France in the same group as Ukraine, which I don't know, they're always in the same group.
Yeah.
Kazakhstan,
Kazakhstan.
Finland,
Woo, Kazakhstan. Let's go.
and Bosnia and Herzegovina. Then we've got Belgium in the same group as Wales, Estonia, Czech Republic, and Belarus. And then Scotland in the same group as Israel, Moldavia, the Faroe Islands, Denmark, and Austria, and the Netherlands in a group with Norway, Turkey. Wow, this is going to be intense. Montenegro. Oh my God, I'm reading the names
Lithuania,
in Italian.
Latvia.
Yeah, Latvia, sorry, Latvia and Gibraltar. I'm reading the names in Italian.
Yeah,
and
no, I know.
translating.
I always get those two confused. But we need to mention the England group. England do have Andorra. I'm getting confused now. Andorra, Albania, Hungary, Poland, and San Marino. Starting off with San Marino, nice easy start there.
Nice. And the last European group is Germany, Armenia, Iceland, Liechtenstein, Northern Macedonia. They changed their name yet again. And Romania. And the last one is Croatia, Cyprus, Malta, Russia, Slovakia, and Slovenia. Now, in South America, things are different. There are only 10 countries and they're all in the same group, which makes it
South American qualifying is mental. It takes ages. You know the countries, you know who's near the top. But because you quickly mentioned Romania, coming up on a future episode, we have a Romanian football expert who we will be interviewing with a view towards the World Cup qualifying campaign. Keep an eye out for that. That should be out in the next few weeks, hopefully.
Yeah, the games in Europe are starting on Wednesday. We've got already Turkey, Netherlands, Belgium, Wales, France, Ukraine, Portugal, Azerbaijan, Serbia, Ireland, Slovenia, Croatia. And then on Thursday, and we will be talking about these games on the Friday pod, we've got Italy, I believe. Italy taking on Northern Ireland as we will be recording, Scotland against Austria, Romania against Northern Macedonia, and then Sweden and much, much more. We will be talking about all this on Friday's pod, which will be dedicated to international football and to the future of the USMNT. Also, now that they're lined up, we can tell you that for the next 3 Fridays, we've got always interviews as weekly topics. This week, we're going to have our American friends talking to us about the USMNT. There's going to be our Romanian journalist coming on as well, and also my mom to tell us everything about my grandfather's sensational journalistic career in the world.
And hopefully a few embarrassing stories about little Tommy when he was a baby.
Absolutely. So this is it. Sorry to have kept you a little past the 10. Now you can go to bed and make yourself a hot cup of milk so you can dream. Is that a hot cup of milk that you drink before going to bed? I don't know.
I don't know. What do you, I don't know, shot of whiskey? I don't know. What do you have before you go to bed?
Whatever you want to have before you go to bed. Guys, I don't have anything more to say. Rory?
I have very little to say. I'm just replying to your mother, to your mum. Yeah.
Who says she has a lot of embarrassing stories. But so, guys, this was it with our Monday Euro review. We will talk to you again on Friday. Stay tuned and enjoy some good old international football. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.